Visual Basic.NET Array. Learning objectives. At the end of a session, the students should be able to 1. Define the syntax of array. 2. Define two type of array. 3. Discuss array initialization. What is an array? An array is like a group of variables with one name. Arrays are like groups of variables that allow you to store sets of similar data. A single-dimension array is useful for storing and working with a single set of data. A multidimensional array can be used to store and work with multiple sets of data. Array in programming can be used for 1. Programs that need summing and averaging all the elements in an array. 2. Programs that need summing all the columns in a two-dimensional array. 3. Program that needs searching an array for a specific value, using parallel arrays. Sometimes it is necessary for an application to store multiple values of the same type. Often it is better to create an array than several individual variables. An array is a like group of variables that have a single name. All of the values stored within an array are called elements, and all are of the same data type. You access the individual elements in an array through a subscript. A subscript, also known as an index, is a number that identifies a specific element within an array. Array characteristics. An array stores multiple values of same type. It is like a group of variables with a single name. For example, the days of the week might be 1. A set of 7 string variables, with a maximum length of 9 characters. All variables within an array are called elements and must be of the same data type. You access the elements in an array through a subscript. Subscript numbering begins at 0, so the subscript of the first element in an array is 0 and the subscript of the last element in an array is 1 less than the total number of elements. For example, consider an array of 7 integers. The subscript of the first element in the array is 0 and the subscript of the last element in the array is 6. How to declare an array in Visual Basic.NET. You declare an array much like you declare a regular variable. Here is the general format of an array declaration. Dim array name, upper subscript, as data type. Let's take a closer look at the syntax. Array name is the name of the array. Upper subscript is the value of the array's highest subscript. This must be a positive integer named constant, or an integer variable containing a positive number. Data type is a Visual Basic data type. Let's look at some examples. Dim int hours, 6, as integer. The statement declares int hours as an array of integers. The number inside the parentheses, 6, indicates that the array's highest subscript is 6. The figure above shows that this array consists of 7 elements with the subscript 0 through 6. The figure shows that numeric array elements are initialized to the value 0. All elements of an integer array are initialized to 0. Same initialization as an integer variable. Each array element is initialized exactly the same as a simple variable of that data type. Decimal elements are initialized to 0. String elements are initialized to the special value nothing. Implicit array sizing and initialization. You can implicitly size an array by omitting the upper subscript in the declaration and providing an initialization list. An array initialization list is a set of numbers enclosed in a set of braces, with the numbers separated by commas. The following is an example of an array declaration that uses an initialization list. Dim int numbers as integer equals 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. The statement declares int numbers as an array of integers. The numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12 are stored in the array. The value 2 will be stored in element 0, 4 will be stored in element 1, and so on. Notice that no upper subscript is provided inside the parentheses. The array is large enough to hold the values in the initialization list. In this example, the array has 6 elements using named constants as subscripts and array declarations to make programs easier to maintain and debug. Programmers often use a named constant as the upper subscript in an array declaration, as shown in the following code: const int max subscript as integer equals 100. Dim int array, int max subscript, as integer. Quite often, when you write code that processes an array, you have to refer to the value of the array's upper subscript. When you declare a named constant to represent an array's upper subscript, you can use that constant any time that you need to refer to the array's last subscript in code. Then, if you ever need to modify the program so the array is a different size, you need only to change the value of the named constant. Working with array elements, you can store a value in an array element with an assignment statement. On the left of the equals operator, use the name of the array with the subscript of the element you wish to assign. For example, suppose int numbers is an array of integers with subscript 0 through 5. The following statements store values in each element of the array. Int numbers 0 equals 100, int numbers 1 equals 200, int numbers 2 equals 300, int numbers 3 equals 400, int numbers 4 equals 500, int numbers 5 equals 600. One-dimensional array or single-dimensional array. By default, array is one dimension. Let's recall what we know. An array is a list of values. All values in an array are referenced by using the same name. An array is like a list box without the box where the list of values are all stored in memory. Arrays are also called tables. Arrays are based on the system array object, a type of collection object. Arrays can store almost any type of data such as integer, string, decimal, etc. Element. This is the term used to refer to an individual part of an array. Each element is numbered beginning with the number 0. Example, 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. The number referring to an array element is placed inside parentheses and is called a subscript or index. The general format for an array reference. Array name, element number. Example references to array elements. Amount decimal, 3. Element 4 of the array named amount decimal. Remember that arrays start with 0, so the fourth element is numbered 3. Two-dimensional arrays. The arrays presented so far have had only one subscript. An array with one subscript is called a one-dimensional array and is useful for storing and working with a single set of data. Sometimes, though, it is necessary to work with multiple sets of data. For example, in a grade averaging program, a teacher might record all of one student's test scores in an array. If the teacher has 30 students, that means there must be 30 arrays to record the scores for the entire class. Instead of declaring 30 individual arrays, it would be better to declare a two-dimensional array. A two-dimensional array is like an array of arrays. It can be used to hold multiple sets of values. Think of a two-dimensional array as having rows and columns of elements, as shown in this figure. This figure shows an array having 3 rows, numbered 0, 1, and 2, and 4 columns, numbered 0, 1, 2, and 3. There are a total of 12 elements in the array. The general format of a two-dimensional array declaration is as follows: dim array name, upper row, upper column, as data type. Let's take a closer look at the syntax. Array name is the name of the array. Upper row is the value of the array's highest row subscript. This must be a positive integer. Upper column is the value of the array's highest column subscript. This must be a positive integer. Data type is a visual basic data type. An example declaration of a two-dimensional array with 3 rows and 4 columns follows and is shown in figure. The highest row subscript is 2 and the highest column subscript is 3. Dim DBL scores 2, 3, as double. As with one-dimensional arrays, it is a good practice to use named constants to specify the upper subscripts. Here is an example: const int max row as integer equals 2. Const int max kernel as integer equals 3. Dim DBL scores int max row, int max col, as double. When data in a two-dimensional array is processed, each element has 2 subscripts, the first for its row and the second for its column. Using the DBL scores array as an example, the elements in row 0 are referenced as follows: DBL scores 0, 0, DBL scores 0, 1, DBL scores 0, 2, DBL scores 0, 3. The elements in row 1 are referenced as follows: DBL scores 1, 0, DBL scores 1, 1, DBL scores 1, 2, DBL scores 1, 3. The elements in row 2 are referenced as follows: DBL scores 2, 0, DBL scores 2, 1, DBL scores 2, 2, DBL scores 2, 3. Take a look at the following examples, and try it on your own three-dimensional arrays and beyond. You can create arrays with up to 32 dimensions, but it will not be covered on this subject. Thank you. You can now try array on your programming activities.